and welcome to the first APAC session of Edu-on-Air for higher education. Today's session is designed to focus for IT leadership and campus administrators. Now, we aren't just talking about a new tool here, we're talking about a fundamental shift in how your campus interacts with AI, moving from an unmanaged personal usage to a governed enterprise-grade environment. My name is Richard Johnson, and I'm a Senior Solutions Engineer at Google Education. I'm based here in sunny Australia, and I cover Asia Pacific. My role is to help educational institutions like yourselves use Google tools to the best of their ability and to ensure it works optimally in your current environment. I've been at Google for about 10 years, and over that time, I've worked with a vast array of technology specialists, support agents, academics, and students in this ever-evolving space. So in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to cover a number of items. I'll talk to AI in education. I'm going to talk about what is the difference in the everyday AI that you hear about and educational AI. I'll go through how Gemini is different and walk you through what enabling Gemini in your organization is going to look like. And at the end, I'll attempt to leave some time for Q&A. Don't forget there is a chat functionality where you can actually put in all of your questions that you'd like to be answered, and we'll attempt to get them towards the end. We've also got people on the phone that will be able to answer the questions live as well. Don't forget this is available on demand, so you can always come back and rewatch it as well. And so with that, we're going to kick off. Let's start by looking at AI's progression in our society. So AI has been around for quite some time. In fact, the concept of AI as we know it today can date back as far as the 50s. In 2023, AI started to make its marketed appearance to the general population with the launch of AI chat tools. And you're probably all familiar with these tools today. But by 2024, the consumer market was wondering, what impacts will this have on their personal lives or on their daily lives? And in 2025, the world has started to slowly adapt to the concept of AI in our lives. Today, in 2026, the conversation around AI, especially in higher education, has shifted. We've moved past the question of should we use it and into a more critical reality of how do we use it without compromising our integrity. AI has fundamentally changed and continues to change our personal and professional lives, from how we search for information and how we create, communicate, and learn. Higher education institutes are accelerating their research divisions, optimizing process flows, and putting information at their fingertips quicker and more efficiently than ever before. And this is just the tip of the AI iceberg. While the AI innovation is moving at breakneck speeds, there are crucial decisions and thoughts behind the scenes that our leadership need to think about. As AI leaders in education, we constantly assess technology being put in front of us, either by industry or by the end users. We want to make the best use of technology for our users, but it comes with conditions that we need to balance in the technology equation. And most of you are probably familiar with this. Number one, managing the technical debt. Implementation of any system, including AI, is not just an upfront cost. There is consideration of human resources and the cost to turn it on, train, and sustain a platform. When it comes to equity and access is to the most advanced technology, even in the smallest settings, can give you advantages for those that have and those that don't. In education, this can make the biggest difference. If you're accessing the best knowledge in the most efficient way possible, you're ahead of the game. And lastly, safety and security, which are paramount. AI is a fantastic piece of equipment. but you need to have security and guardrails built in from the model up to protect your IP. As with all technology, safety is everyone's responsibility. So understanding what the platform and iteration are meant for when it comes to work or learning are extremely vital. In this day and age, knowing the difference between AI tools can mean a lot in understanding capabilities, utilization limits, and security. Users can bring their own AI accounts just like they're bringing their personally controlled laptops to campus. Consumer accounts that are attached to a personal Gmail account don't have the same level of data protections, review protocols, and guardrails that the Education Edition does. A Google Education account is free and easy to deploy in your institution. It provides your users with enterprise-grade data protections that ensure the AI model prompts and responses don't leave your digital ownership. Now, it's all good and well to say this, but why is this important? Well, one of the biggest ones is shadow IT. But this isn't a new concept. It has evolved to become shadow AI, in which consumer AI accounts organically appear in your environment. This can either be by accident or filling a gap that hasn't been provided for by IT. Now, this demand brings us back to the pressures felt by IT leadership teams to find a secure solution that fits. Every day that AI gaps are not covered by a suitable solution is another day that shadow AI increases. These risks start to show, and in some cases, they can go undetected for quite some time. So let's have a look at them. Well, consumer-grade AI can be used to train models. Now that leads to data loss and public replication of data. Now this is harder to recall than just an accidental sharing of files from your cloud storage. Cyber attacks start to evolve with more sophisticated phishing campaigns that can personalize at scale to make them seem more legitimate, and prompt injection attempts can open up data loss vectors. Intellectual and organizational research data can be lost, and disputes of ownership can arise when data is publicly retrievable by a public version of an AI model. And right at the end, students and staff in your institutions take the assumption that when they're using AI in your environment or on your network, it's safe data-wise. Using consumer AI can erode trust when people find out that it is not the safest solution. So the question is, what is the solution? Well, let me introduce you to Gemini for Education. It's the AI solution for everyone in higher education, from chancellors to students. Gemini is your secure AI partner to help you learn and work. But here's a look at why it's the secure platform of choice. And I'll go through a lot of these security niches that you need to know about. Have a look at the screen and have a look where you fit in the role at your university or higher education facility. So first off, Gemini is the first enterprise-ready AI platform that's safe and secure. Not only that, Gemini in education meets compliance standards from all over the globe. At Google, we build all of our products with security from the ground up, and Gemini is no exception to this. You'll notice some of the international certifications on the screen, such as ISO 27001, and also the new ISO 42001, which is an AI certification. Now, compliance is just one factor to being globally recognized as secure AI. You've also got to put these in place. But how do we achieve these security compliance milestones? Well, we implement multiple layers of protection and policies to ensure safety for our customers. When you're using Google for Education's AI tools, including Gemini and Google Notebook LM, within your institutional account, there are definitive safeguards that are in place. Google does not use your education account data to train our global models. So that means Your prompts, the files you upload, and the responses that AI generates are strictly contained within your environment. They're never used to improve our AI for other customers or for the general public. Your data and your knowledge remains exclusively yours. Also, your data is your data, and it's not reviewed by any humans, including people at Google. These aren't just features. These are core contractual commitments. So we understand that in higher education, privacy is absolutely integral to everything that we do. One of the key differentiators is that Google owns the entire stack across the software, the models, the devices, and the cloud infrastructure. You can see here at the software layer, we have the apps for productivity, Gemini and Google Notebook LM. At the model level, we have Learn LM and Gemini. At endpoints, there is Chrome and Android, which you're familiar with, followed by our cloud infrastructure, which is powered by our in-house TPUs. When you own the whole stack, it gives you a clear advantage, especially when it comes to security. So Google creates and maintains the Gemini model. It's not maintained by a third party. We don't give it out to other people, and we don't share it in from a third-party vendor. Our data centers are fully owned and run by Google. We don't share them with other vendors out there. We're not sharing the data center space. When you're interacting with Gemini, the data is processed on our network of private data centers. It's protected by our sharding and encryption technology that spans the globe. And more importantly, when you're doing a privacy assessment, which I hope everyone does, you're only assessing one platform, one vendor, and one solution. So it's quicker to do an assessment, easier to understand, and you're only assessing one stack. Not only do we regularly test our infrastructure when it comes to security, such as penetration tests, we also get renowned experts to validate our findings and provide those reports to you. Our red team, along with other teams, are one of the most advanced threat detection teams in the world, designed to keep Google and billions of users across the world safe online. So whether you're accessing Gemini in Chrome and other browsers via the Gemini app, or using APIs which you've integrated with, you're using the Google Secure Stack. Now, you would think that this highly secured, engineered solution would be cost prohibitive since it's built with enterprise-grade security and globally certified. But it isn't. Gemini can be accessed via Google for Education Fundamentals Edition, which is our cost-free solution. We believe that all education users, regardless of institutional location, should have access to AI when it comes to learning or working. Not only do you get Gemini for Education, but you also get access to Google's Notebook LM, the grounded AI research tool. If you have not seen Notebook LM or Gemini in action, you can see this in our next episode of Education on Air. So let me quickly recap here at our midway point. You get access to a premium AI regardless of your Google for Education edition, including our no charge tier. Enterprise grade security that doesn't train the model for all users across all editions, and no human reviews. And lastly, compliance certification to help you meet your privacy requirements. Now, if you've chosen Gemini as your AI partner, or you're thinking about it, and you want to go down this path of creating a proof of concept or a pilot, let's go through what the steps are, and if you were to activate this. If you currently have an active Google for Education tenant, then activation is reasonably easy. If you're new to Google for Education, there is some quick and effective ways to getting this going. And don't worry, we'll provide all the resources throughout this presentation and afterwards, so you can access them on the events page as well. So let's look at what it takes to set up a new Google for Education tenant so Gemini can be easily activated. After signing up for the new tenant, we need to make sure that organizational units are set up correctly. Organizational units are essentially buckets that are static. It allows you to turn on or configure services for buckets of users. An example of this is a department or faculty being a top-level bucket with academics and students as sub-OUs or organizational units. Once OUs are in place, you'll want to add your users. You have the option to add users manually in the Google Admin Console, bulk upload via CSV, and use syncing tools or APIs to bring in users at scale and ongoing managed basis. If you need more information, you can follow the Quick Start IT Setup Guide that we've provided. And don't worry, we'll demonstrate some of this live in the Admin Console, so you can get a feel of how to do this on your own in your own tenant. We're now at the step for both new tenants and existing Google for Education customers. It's now time to turn on and enable and configure Gemini. You can do this quite easily by clicking on the generative AI in the left-hand navigation panel of your Admin Console and selecting Gemini app. You can turn this on for everyone, or you can be selective. And don't forget to save your settings at the end. If you're piloting Gemini with a subset of users, make sure you select the OU of choice and turn it on. You also want to check the configurations that can be applied as part of turning on Gemini. Keep in mind that if you turn on Gemini at the root level OU, inheritance will apply and cascade the service down to the OUs underneath, unless you override them. Next, we will want to enable Notebook LM. In the same way we have enabled Gemini, we're going to select Generative AI from the left-hand menu navigation and select Notebook LM. Notebook LM can be enabled similar to how Gemini can be enabled and piloted in your organization. Now, I get asked these questions all the time, but audit and investigation are extremely important. Operating a cloud application in your organization requires you to understand what your users are doing on a regular basis. And the same goes for Gemini. Most of you will be familiar with Google Vault, which is our retention tool, and it's available for free for all Google for Education editions. If you're not familiar with Vault, head to vault.google.com. Ensure that retention for workspace services are turned on. Vault keeps a copy of your data, even when users accidentally or purposely delete it. When you need to find out what users have been prompting in Gemini, you can use the search tool in Vault and select Gemini. You enter the user ID, the date range, to bring back all the data you need for audit purposes, or to export a copy of the data in alignment with your organizational policies. If you're looking for an audit log inside the Google Admin Console, you can find this in the Gemini activity or usage reports. In one section of these reports, you'll be able to see organizational trends in AI utilization. In another report, you can discover the breakdown types of Gemini activities at an individual user level. In both cases, these can be filtered by different organizational units. This is vital if you're wanting to see the utilization impact AI is having on your organization, but also whether the return on investment in AI has been worth it. If you're measuring the implementation of Gemini AI training for your users, you want to see a positive trend in active usage across your organization. During pilots and initial stages of deployment, you can check individual utilization and start to call upon these users to create Gemini champions to help support other users in your organization to reach piloting success. Conversation history is vital in any communication, or AI applications. For Gemini, it helps users recall any previous interactions with AI without having to rerun the same prompt, use up any tokens or resources. Admins can preset conversation history to 3, 18, or 36 months. Admins, if they don't touch this, 18 months is the default. Now, it's worth noting that conversation history doesn't impact Google Vault's retention of data, which I mentioned earlier. Okay. Now, in this section, I'm going to pray to the demo gods that everything runs smoothly. Live demos are always risky, as history tells us, but let's go. So I'm going to jump into my admin console. Now, this may kick me out for security purposes, but we'll see how we go. I'm going to show you an example of organizational units. And you can see here, I've got the University of the Future. I've got all my central staff positions, all types of positions, my executive branch. I've got faculty of science staff, and you can see all the different staff types, and I've got the students as well. It's important to have these static buckets. As you can see, I can add my users in here by going into the user section, and I can go add new users, or I can bulk update, as previously talked about. Next, I'm going to go down to Gemini. Now, this is the important step. Turning it on is reasonably easy. Up here, I can see that the service is turned on for some. But if I want to turn on the service directly, I can go into user access. And remember that if I'm piloting this, or I'm being selective about how I want to apply Gemini, I can select a particular OU. I can tick the box, and I can click Set or Override. This will allow me to make sure that Gemini is turned on for the right people. I can also go into Notebook LM. I can click the server status button, and I can turn it on for my university or my higher education facility. If you're wanting to do single sign-on, you can click Authentication, and you can do single sign-on with third-party IDP. And this will bring you into this section here, where you can enter your credentials for your other environments out there. This means that you can use your existing logins to log into Gemini. You don't need to have a Google login as such. Now, we talked about the reporting ability, and we've got Gemini reports here. So 2 types of reports. We've got org level reports, and this can show you high level how many people are using Gemini today. You can see here how many people have a license and how many people are utilizing it. We can see Gemini adoption per app, and I can see more granular figures here, as well as some advanced functionality. So this is great if you're wanting to see how your environment is trending, how the adoption is trending of Gemini overall. I'm going to jump to user level. Now remember, this is a great table. This is going to show you how many people are using Gemini, at what level they're using it, and if they're using it with various different apps. This is great if you want to identify Gemini champions in your organization and help them get out to people to train others on how to use AI in your organization. Now, many people ask me, how do I integrate Gemini as part of LMS? This could be something like Canvas or Moodle. And most of the work is actually done on the LMS side, but you do need to enable Google Workspace LTI from inside your admin console. And there's that security prompt that we all love and know. And that's going to log me back in. Admin security is very important. And you'll see here, we just need to turn it on as a service status for our university or for our higher ed institute. Now I'm going to show you some premium features as well. If you do have access to Education Plus, you will also have the ability to go into your security center and go investigation tool. You can access this from the reports menu in your fundamentals version as well, if you'd like. So you'll see here, investigation tool will load. We can type in Gemini. And I can do a search result. And this will bring me back some results and it will tell me who's been using it. Now, it won't go into great detail as to what they've been doing it. That occurs in a tool called Google Vault. And you'll see here, this is Google Vault. Now, what I've done here is I want everyone to make sure that they've set their retention rules. And that is, you want to turn all of these services on and set a time period for them. If you haven't done this today, it's recommended that you do so. Vault does not work retroactively. So if you set it tomorrow and you wanted to look for something from yesterday, it's too late by then. I'm going to click on Matters, and I'm going to click on one that I previously created. You'll see here, I can select Gemini app. I can select an account, and I can set some dates. And I can search for that. Now, when it comes back, I can export that information as well. It'll take a couple of minutes at least to export this or to create the export. You'll be able to keep it for 15 days, and then you'll have a download link. That will come out in text file, and that will give you all the information that you need around what users have been asking or prompting in your system, in the Gemini AI system. It'll also tell you which application they've been using inside there as well. Okay, let's go back and we're going to recap. So what I've just shown you in the setup is that Gemini fits into your existing ecosystem. There's no need to switch tools. Gemini works with your existing productivity suite and allows you to bring the best of Google AI to your campus with zero friction. So if you use a different IDP, you can single sign on with that into the Google environment. We're not asking you to recreate the wheel when it comes to identity. Now, accessing that, you can use it, accessing with your other identity platform is either OIDC or SAML. Obviously, OIDC is a little bit easier, but that automatically gives you an account that you can sign in with that gives you those enterprise-grade data protections. And we want to meet you where you're at. So embedding generative AI into your core learning environments, such as your LMS, is going to help you scale personalized tutoring or instructional support without leaving your existing platforms or your systems. For those that are planning to put this in place or are project managers, piloting and project managing Gemini for Education is easy. We understand that there's a lot of rigor, governance, and change control around any technology implementations. So we've built a templated project plan with activities, milestones, and a Gantt chart to help you kick off quicker. You'll be able to track your time and monitor dependencies. This covers not only technical implementation, but the change management side of the implementation, which is helpful. There will also be links and resources attached to the template, so be sure to take advantage of this. Now, if you've just tuned in or you haven't been paying attention to a lot of this presentation, there's 4 things I want you to remember before we go into Q&A. 1, Gemini is your secure AI education partner that's fully compliant and it doesn't train models. Gemini is free, it's easy to turn on for registered educational institutes. We're going to meet you where you're at. Just because you're using another productivity platform, OS or hardware, doesn't mean you can't use or integrate with Gemini services. We have training and resources available to you when you decide to pilot and launch within your organization. So you don't need to do this by yourself. We're going to share a one-pager to everyone that has registered for this session. It contains links and a setup guide and other useful resources for activating Gemini in both new and existing customers. If you need additional support, feel free to reach out to your Google for Education account manager or our 24/7 support team, which is included with all Google for Education editions. If you want to know more about Gemini or Notebook LM as a product, we'll also link these guides so you can quickly reference what we went through today and review all the different AI features available in Google for Education. Before we go to Q&A, I want to leave you with a quote that resonates well with the evolution of AI in education. And this was from Sundar. Over time, AI will be the biggest technological shift we see in our lifetimes. It's a fundamental rewiring of technology and an incredible accelerant of human ingenuity. So just keep that in mind. This is a huge transformation that you're about to go through, and we're here to partner with you as you do this. Now, we do have a little bit more time left for Q&A. If you have any questions that you want to be answered, pop them in the chat and our team can have a look at it, or we can answer it live. I'll give a couple of seconds for people to put their questions in. Okay, so we've had one question. Can you cover who can view content in Google Vault? Yes, Google Vault can be accessed by super administrators, and those administrators can delegate access out to various different users. So for example, if you wanted to give Vault access to a department or a faculty member, you could do so, and it would be restricted to their faculty only. I'll give a couple more minutes for any questions. Just go back, just a reminder. Of the 4 points. If you remember anything from today's session, it's your secure AI partner that's fully compliant and doesn't train models. It's free and easy to turn on for registered educational institutions. We're going to meet you where you're at. And don't do this alone. We've got training resources available for you. If you're going to pilot this or launch it within your organizations, we can help you. Okay, we have one more question. What is the difference between Gemini app and Gemini for Workspace? Great question. Gemini app is your chat assistant, which gives you access to things like Gemini Gems, guided learning, and other features you find in a chat AI space. Gemini for Workspace is Gemini integrated into your Google Workspace account. That means when you're accessing Gmail, Drive, Chat, or Google Meets and other products, you'll have access to Gemini in a side tab. In there, you'll be able to ask questions about the session that you're in so that you can get direct answers relevant to what you're looking at on screen without having to go and reference it in the Gemini app. And I've got another question. Google Vault sounds like a privacy intrusion. Are you sure it should be enabled? That's a very good question. Google Vault is a retention tool. It's not designed for everyone to access. It's designed for only administrators and security officers or digital security officers to have access to. Not only is it for your protection, but it's also to understand where things are going wrong in your organization. Sometimes investigations are needed to get to the bottom of things, and having that accountability is there for everyone to view. Now, don't forget, every end user has access to their own history in conversation history. Okay, I'll give it another 30 seconds just to see if there's any questions that are coming through. No other questions at this point in time. So what we'll do is we'll let you know about the upcoming sessions. You'll see here we've got one on April 21st, Accelerate Research Workflows with Gemini Deep Research and Notebook LM. So remember, if you haven't had a go, if you haven't seen Notebook LM or Gemini in action, it's worth attending that session. From prep to pedagogy, mastering personalized learning with Gemini and Notebook LM. These are great resources, by the way, and these are great presenters that I've seen as well. May 12th. Have a look at those. Definitely click the sign up button if you are available to attend that. And lastly, before I say goodbye, I'd love to get your feedback. So please share your thoughts and any feedback using the QR code on the screen or via the link in the chat. So thank you for joining me today, and we look forward to seeing you at future sessions.